Are we ready? Yeah!
It's now time for the Team High School Show on ESPN Radio 1017 The Team.
Stand by for action.
The Team is your home for the best coverage of high school sports anywhere. Here to bring you the show is Gary Harris.
He's sexy, sassy, and full of spunk.
Right here on ESPN Radio 1017 The Team, the flagship station for APS Athletics.
Good morning, everybody. A great Saturday out there. Sunny, beautiful Sunday, beautiful sunny Saturday. High school football going on today, going on last night. A lot of excitement in the air around a sports station, of course, with college football kicking off a couple of nights ago. Let's go to the phones, talk to the football guru, the high school football guru, Kyle Henderson. Good morning, Kyle.
How you doing, Gary?
I'm doing good. First of all, because we don't know how strong the signal's going to be, how long it's going to last. You were at Bulldog Bowl last night for the Artesia-Hobbs game. Artesia won that game. Talk a little bit about that experience and the game itself.
Well, the Bulldog experience is something else. I mean, you go down to Artesia. It's a long drive, but it's well worth it. I mean, the atmosphere is electric. Last night, the Artesia Bulldogs beat the Hobbs Eagles 38-28, led by quarterback Justin Huddling, who threw for 460 yards and scored 5 touchdowns. Eagles still looking for their first victory on the season. Artesia has won now their last 13 out of 14 games. They look tough. Still the Class 5A favorite. It was an excellent game. I'm headed back right now to check out Las Cruces and La Cueva. Big weekend of high school football.
You said 5 touchdowns for Huddling. Was that a combination of touchdown passes and touchdown runs?
You know what? Obviously he's a passer and he's a pro style, meaning he's not much of a dual threat guy. But he actually had 3 rushing touchdowns, short yardage touchdowns, two 3 yards out, and he threw 2 touchdowns. One was a 43-yard touchdown, another was a 53-yard touchdown strike. So he looked poised. Bulldogs, I think they still need work to do. It's only week 2, but certainly impressed with the outcome last night.
What are the college prospects for Huddling?
You know what? I mean, he hasn't had a Division I offer, which is interesting because he's 6'5", probably 185 pounds. He comes from a strong bloodline. Both of his uncles played at one of his uncles played at UNM as a quarterback. Another one played at quarterback for the New Mexico State Aggies. So he's still looking for that first offer. Last year he threw for 3,400 yards. He's a big-time quarterback, and I think a Division I offer is possible. But someone's gonna pick him up eventually. He's too good to pass up.
We're talking with Kyle Henderson from NMPreps.com. You mentioned the long drive to Artesia, and I've made that before, but like you say, Bulldog Bowl is probably worth it with the tailgating and the excitement and all the signs on the main drags there in Artesia about the big game the Bulldogs are playing that night. But did you make that drive by yourself, or did you take the wife and kids?
No, you know what? This weekend I was solo, but this summer I did take my son Caden. I brought him to the Bulldog Bowl. It was a pretty cool experience, but just a solo kind of 16-hour trip for me this weekend. Wanted to go check out a big-time matchup, and, it lived up to the hype. I mean, I've been to 5 games so far this year, and most of them have been blowouts, but finally saw a pretty even matchup last night. Talk
a little bit about what you're doing on the road. Are you making plans? Are you got things you're listening to the CD or stereo or satellite radio? What do you do to while away the hours and the miles, Kyle?
You know what? This is a long drive, but I love college football, probably a little bit more than pro football. So I'm eager to check out Arizona State and Texas A&M. I was just listening on a recap of the Michigan-Utah game, and was eager to find how Jim Harbaugh would fare in his first year with Michigan. And I think they're going to get there. But I love college football, so I just listen to college football radio and always try to improve on some of my speaking techniques listening to College Game Days. Those guys do an excellent job.
Is there a place you like to stop for lunch or dinner on the way there or back?
The options are slim, honestly. I mean, usually I tell you straight up, but from Artesia to Albuquerque, the options are slim. I mean, you got Vaughn, you got Klein's Corners. I mean, not a lot of options at those 2 spots.
Yeah, you don't want to spend any time in the Vaughn Mall. It's always packed.
Yeah, Vaughn Mall, you're right.
All right, as you were checking scores, and I'm sure you do, any surprises last night? And, of course, I'm winking America's beating Rio Rancho last night.
Yeah, America's coming up, on a long drive and beating Rio Rancho at their home field. Did expect it to happen. Rio Rancho, the 14-game winning streak has snapped. I don't think Rio Rancho is completely done. I mean, the loss is eventually going to happen. Still a good team. I'll be eager to see how they rebound in weeks 3. It was a New Mexico versus El Paso game last night. Or matchups. You had Cleveland going down to Divide, and that was going to be a tough test. We all knew it. Divide beat them last year. Cleveland comes out victorious, 52-36. Landry Hayes had his first big breakout game, scoring 3 touchdowns for the Storm. You also had the Mayfield Trojans defeating El Paso Franklin 69-49. Both defenses obviously checked out, and the running back from Mayfield, Isaac Vance, continues to have a monster season. Last week against Hobbs, he ran for 361. Last night, he runs for 247 and 5 total touchdowns. So Isaac Vance, only a junior, starting off with a big season.
Well, I'll give you a little recap of that Rio Rancho game. The game was played in a constant drizzle. Rio Rancho coughed up a punt early. America's winning, got a field goal. They had a later field goal. It was 13-0 at halftime. Rio Rancho tried to make a comeback, but Stephen Bailey threw 3 picks. That doesn't help. 4 turnovers in the game. The Rams looked, I don't want to say devastated, but certainly frustrated, and David House predicted they're going to have a tough week of practice. And the unique thing about playing these El Paso schools, and you mentioned last year Del Valle won at Cleveland, but they had a great quarterback under center, and Rio Rancho went down to Americas and won, and then they flip-flopped the sites this year. The Rio Rancho teams have won the games played in El Paso, and the El Paso teams have won the games played in Rio Rancho, so playing better on the road probably gives teams a boost.
Yeah, I mean, you know, every year is different, but those road trips from Rio Rancho to El Paso, I mean, those are long bus rides there and back, and it's not like Cleveland is staying the night. I mean, those kids play the game, and then they hop on the bus and go back. Same for El Paso Americans. Those guys are already, you know, probably watching film this morning. So, you know, long road trip, but those are some high-caliber teams. I mean, El Paso Americans, last week they beat Carlsbad. Last week Divide beat Gadsden pretty good. So this is big-time football, and I think those guys are obviously accustomed to that.
Yeah, but then again, beating Gadsden's no great shakes, and apparently beating Carlsbad isn't that big a deal either, because the Cavemen lost again this week, so they're 0-2 to start the season, getting beat by Deming 41-34.
Yeah, for the second year in a row, the Deming Wildcats have beaten Carlsbad, and you know, that's interesting. I mean, Carlsbad is now 0-2 under first-year head football coach Gary Bradley. I want to give a shout-out right now to Deming quarterback Dante Urrutia, who scored 6 touchdowns last night and ran for 241 yards. He's got an offer on the table right now from Eastern New Mexico. He came out to our combine. He's a fantastic defensive back. 6 touchdown club. You know, that's worth a shout out, definitely.
Well, I don't know if you want to play at Eastern. They won their game against Highlands the other night. Only had 3 completed passes in the game. They scored about 6 touchdowns too.
Eastern New Mexico, it's a big win over New Mexico Highlands. The quarterback for the last couple of years is Las Cruces standout Jeremy Burma. Remember him from a couple years ago? He helped Las Cruces to a state championship. And then the running back is Kamal Cast, who was a former Clovis standout. He busted out a 61-yard touchdown run against Highland. Eastern New Mexico doing a fantastic job of scooping up some of these, you know, still high-profile prospects that are just falling under the radar here in New Mexico.
Yeah, but I'm wondering if you're somebody like Austin Patterson, who's a great receiver, you go down there and they don't even throw the ball your way. And kudos to also to Kamal Cast being the Gatorade Player of the Year a couple of years ago. So Eastern's kind of loading up. I know there was something negative about them, some NAIA infractions, but they'll rebound from that.
Yeah, I think the coaching staff is doing a great job, and I did read into some of those infractions, and you know, that's always going to be bad, but, you know, you have to deal with those things and move right along. But those guys are really recruiting New Mexico athletes like I haven't seen before, and I hope they continue to do so, because giving some of these guys that aren't exactly Division I prospects still an opportunity to play at the next level and some big-time football is quite important.
All right, Kyle, we're talking with Kyle Henderson, NMPreps.com, the football guru. He doesn't have all these notes in front of him, but he's remembering the scores and the stats and all that. What should people look for today at Wilson Stadium, 1 o'clock kickoff, La Cueva, Las Cruces?
Love that matchup. I mean, last week I figured that La Cueva and the Trisco would be a little bit more evenly matched, but La Cueva, you know, back to their old just grounded tag, Thomas Boyd and Josh Woisen racked up over 200 yards of total offense. Today they're going to have a tough time with Las Cruces. Las Cruces playing with a chip on their shoulder, a little bit more experience with the quarterback, Cameron Miller coming. He's a 3-year starter at Las Cruces, the coach's son. Last week they were beat by Montwood 20-14. Las Cruces were driving in the third quarter. The game was called by lightning. I like Las Cruces in that matchup, but I do like La Cueva's younger class. They have some very salty sophomore and juniors that you're going to see in the next couple of years. I think La Cueva might struggle today, but I think towards the end of the season, La Cueva is going to come around and make for an interesting district finish.
Looking ahead to next week, what's the big game people should be aware of?
Well, I think Las Cruces and Volcano Vista play. You also have Mayfield and Carlsbad, and the storyline behind that is Michael Bradley is playing his brother Gary Bradley. there's a flurry of good games taking place in week 3, but I'm still trying to digest week 2 because there was some pretty good matchups, including that Pedro Vista over Goddard. I mean, when's the last time a team from Farmington, probably in the state championship a couple years ago, in Farmington beat Goddard, but it's not too often that Pedro Vista reels off a big win over a southeastern New Mexico football team.
Can't argue with that. Have a safe trip the rest of the way. I'm going to see you at Wilson Stadium today, 1 o'clock kickoff. Kyle Henderson, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Gary.
All right, and he's a proud sponsor of the Team High School Show. We're going to take a break. It's the end of the first quarter. You're listening to Team High School Show. I'm Gary Herron. Stick around.
Baby, it's